Hello and welcome to the MLC Post Game Show right here on Big Innings. I'm Aaman Patel, of course, joined by Nate Hayes, and we're so excited to bring you yet another day of post-game coverage from Major League Cricket. It was another fun day, Nate. It wasn't as hot, and you know what? As someone sitting outside, I'll take that for sure.
Well, you're right. It was the first day. I think if we had landed and it was this way, we'd be like, wow, it's hot. But
no, that's fair. It's still probably 80, 90 degrees.
It was at least 90, but we had a breeze.
We had a breeze. Rain cooled things down.
It was nice.
But it didn't cool down the matches here, Nate, because we'll start with the Freedom and the Texas Super Kings who took on in match one. It was a sea of yellow once again, as it's going to be when we play here in Dallas.
Yes.
In Grand Prairie, rather.
Yes.
And the Freedom, they win the toss. They like to bat first.
Right.
And again, I texted this to you, and I think this goes to their strength of, I think their bowling is their strength, and I think they would rather defend a total than chase a total. But I think the key for them was getting off that start with the bat. We saw it in the first match. They got a couple of starts,
100%.
but they didn't get that key stay at the crease that they needed.
Right.
And today, they got that stay at the crease from Matthew Short. Matthew Short goes 80 from 50 deliveries. He was truly special today, Nate.
He was absolutely outstanding, especially when you consider the fact that he really hasn't played on turf for a couple of months.
No, absolutely. Again, you see it right there, 50 for him, and everyone loved it. They needed that. You could see the way he pushed them in the power play. I got him to 47 for just one wicket. I thought that was the key, not losing too many in the power play. I think he adapted to the service as well. But if you're Texas, you're kicking yourself. Because, yes, he got to 50, but you had him on 60.
Yeah.
You had him out, caught out in the deep. Everyone's celebrating. Go to review. Rusty Theron oversteps. And the very next delivery, Matthew Short sends it away for 6 over mid-wicket.
It was unbelievable how well he batted, especially when you consider that no other openers in the league have done close to what he's done.
Absolutely.
Really. I mean, Conway. But this was a very special innings, and this is something Washington really needed. They need a target to defend. I mean, they need a total to defend.
Yep. And
they have the bowling. They have an answer for everything. I even asked Matthew Short in the press conference. You can see that on the MLC Network. I asked him what he thought, if he agreed that the bowling is the strength of the team. He said yes, at least on paper, it's very much the strength of their team. So they have an identity, and I think a lot of these teams are still trying to find what their identity is, and just that alone gives you an advantage in a short tournament. You already know what your identity is. It seems like the team knows they're a bowling team, so they know that informs your decision at the toss. That informs everything you do batting.
Yes.
And I think that's a very good thing for this team. And a fella I met tonight mentioned, he said if bowling wins you tournaments, he tweeted this out actually. Yeah. And if bowling wins you tournaments, then Washington should win the league. Yeah. And it's tough to argue against that. Now, Dwayne Bravo made it interesting at the end.
Yes, he did.
I honestly, as a fan of Muhammad Mohsin, I was a little ticked off he didn't take that single on the third to last ball when they were basically eliminated from winning the game. But he gave the fans 10 more runs after that.
Absolutely. It was great to see his...
Or 8 more, I think,
see his batting. But I also was kind of impressed with the way Texas bowled, too. Right. Yes, Short scores 80, but Washington only scored 163. They didn't get to that 200 mark. And pretty much everyone was pretty economical. Coach, he looked good as ever, fired up, taking the wicket of Andres House and, doing the fist bump roar that he does.
Oh, my gosh.
Mohsin was great again today. DJ Bravo was great with the ball. Right. Pretty economical. Tashin said in the comments, too, Mohsin, again, economical for T20 standards.
Mohsin was terrific once again. He currently leads the league in wickets along with Cameron Gannon. So that's 2 domestics in the league that are leading the league in wickets. The leading run scorer is a domestic also, Corey Anderson. But yes, Mohsin was great. Coatsy is making me a massive fan of his right now.
He's terrific.
If this was the first cricket, if this tournament was the first cricket I'd ever seen, I would be convinced that Harold Coatsy is the best bowler in the world. And also the most fun to watch because I love the
whole thing about him.
Everything
the
about
headband
him. Love
to the wickets and then the celebration after each wicket.
Absolutely love the guy. I feel like he's after the games. I feel like he's chugging beers and smashing the cans on his head.
He feels like he would be part of the Cobra Kai dojo. I don't know, something about the headband and the loud roars. Like, I don't know, it feels like if he was in the Karate Kid or if he was in the new spin-off show, he would be part of the Cobra Kai dojo.
He might be an awesome good guy too, you know.
No, absolutely. He could be one of the good Cobra Kai guys. You know, it's just that persona he gives off was terrific.
I'm a huge fan of his right now. We saw Glenn Phillips didn't come through today. Moises Enriquez kind of, you know, helped the innings along. But our buddy Obus, boy, did he play great in a finishing role for the team, coming in late. And I was wondering if he would click that quickly.
Sure.
But he did.
He did.
And we saw some social media posts from Washington where some people were asking, who's the most likely guy to come in and try to hit a six on the first ball? And at least one of the guys said Obus.
Yeah. Obus is the guy that come in and hit the ball around. And as good as he was at the back end, I still think, and you know, this is something that Enriquez said in the interview, is they just felt like they left themselves down in the last 5 overs of this match. And you look at the last 5 overs, you have 1 over of double digits run scores in the last 5.
Yeah.
That's just not gonna cut it to win you games. But another thing you can flip it is say, well, you had 1 over of double-digit runs in your last 5, and you still won the match. So, again, these are little wins you can take, and yes, that's an area you need to improve on, but also it didn't hurt you in the win column today.
Right.
And it's something you could say, hey, you know, you did it. And to their credit, even after losing some momentum in their last 5, their first 5 with the ball was terrific. I think they did exactly what they would have wanted. Marco Janssen starting with the wicket of Devin Conway, gets him out for a duck. 50 in the first match, duck in this one. Then you have Sorabnetter Volker going and getting fast.
Oh, my gosh.
So you got 2 wickets of the 2 openers in the first 4 overs.
Yes. And honestly, you know, the other night we thought Washington had enough runs on the board, or had close to enough runs on the board. Today they scored 163. And I thought, if there's one team I would have wanted to see them score maybe another 10 runs, it would be against this team with the opening partnership of Faf and Conway, who are dynamite together.
They are dynamite.
And you know, not many teams enjoy this luxury of just bringing over and plugging in a couple of openers. Like these two, who are used to playing with each other, used to scoring, who've scored humongously for their team in India. So I thought, you know, I would have liked to see them score a few more, but I also felt like they have what it takes to win this game. And a couple of early wickets was all it took, pretty much. And obviously, somebody made it close at the end. DJ Bravo. Who is emerged as like it looks like we're looking at 2017 DJ Bravo right now.
He feels back in his prime, and he feels back in his heyday. And again, you got to give credit to the Washington bowlers for giving them enough cushion to survive this onslaught from DJ Bravo, and
which is what they did.
We talked about Akil Hussain and Dane Pete. That combination there in the middle for a little bit, taking the wickets of David Miller. Dane gets him off a fantastic Glenn Phillips catch. Then Akil Hussain gets Lahito Malanta. He goes and gets Milan Kumar a couple of deliveries later. Those were key wickets and key moments to keep partnerships from building.
And it was great when you see that wicket from Dane Pete in the very next over. You see Glenn Phillips bowling.
Glenn Phillips got an over in there.
And it's like, why not? You got him on the ropes. Why not? And I liked that Glenn Phillips. I liked Glenn Phillips for this team for that reason. It allows them to double down on a position that nobody's going to carry 2 specialist off-break bowlers in T20 cricket. It's just not going to happen, and probably in any cricket. But it helps to have an extra over, be able to go 5 or 6 overs in an innings with an off-break bowler when the situation calls for that.
Absolutely. And again, then you get down. Enriquez, he gets Mitchell Santner. He big wicket of that because we know what Santner can do with the bat. And then it was about DJ Bravo after that. 76 from 39, made it really interesting, and just a couple of shots away. They end up losing just by 6 runs. And for Texas, you're going to take that, say, look, we just need to find 6 runs elsewhere. Devin Conway gets out for a duck. Faf, he hasn't been flowing yet. If those 2 get going, this is a side that's going to be real dangerous. But if you're Washington, you're going to say what Dane Pete said in their social post. A win is a win. They scored more runs than the other team, and they're going to take that home.
They're going to take it.
A couple of cold ones.
They're going to take it. We got our buddy Tashin joining us, asking or making some comments here. Economical Mosen, good point there. He's saying that he feels that Moises is just a captain on this side. Not necessarily a batter or a bowler for this league. I think, honestly, after seeing him in person, I love his bowling.
I think the bowling is there, and I think the beautiful thing about Enriquez is he doesn't have to be the real standout in either format. And I think you know, that can lead to this
specialty.
This can lead to this maybe thought or this observation of, well, he only bowled like 1 or 2 overs, comes in towards the end, but it's more so because and I think you're right in the sense of he is a really good captain from this side.
He is a good
because
captain.
he has that batting and the bowling knowledge.
Yes.
But he also has a luxury of, well, I've got Anand Nokia. I've got Sorum Netravalkar. I've got Marco Janssen. I've got Dane Pete. I've got Akil Hossain. I got Glenn Phillips. I have Obis Pinar if I want another left arm spinner. And then I have myself if I want another pacer. So he has 3 genuine pacers. And then with the bat, he's got hitters around. So he can kind of mix and match the things he wants to do.
And if you look at his stats throughout his career, he doesn't have overwhelming statistics. And I think that's why maybe he found it difficult finding spaces in the IPL, finding chances in the IPL. However, his chances that he has had in the BBL as a captain of that team, he's led them to the championship game, I believe, 4 times. They've won 2 of them. I think 2 of the last 3 or 4 years they were the winning team. He is definitely a very good captain. He definitely does what I think he needs to do with, you know, as a performer. I think he's a very smart cricketer and a very good cricketer. You know, I think he's good. I think he's really pretty good for this team. But we saw them bowl. This is what we talk about. You know, there's different ways to do things. Seattle, as they did in the minor league, bowled very few people. You know, they feel like they've got their bowlers. They're going to bowl their bowlers. Whereas Washington is, we like being a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, that's what they are. They're going to use every single tool in the tool shed and not leave a stone unturned. If they feel something can improve or be a wicket-taking moment, they're going to jump on it. And you know what? You might lose a game because of that, but they're willing to die on that sword.
And honestly, this captaincy, Moises, reminds me of Dane as captain.
Yeah, it does.
It's when he's captain of the Raptors, Dane. You know, it's not unusual to see 7, 8, 9 bowlers use 9. Sometimes bowlers use, and sometimes that's because we don't have 5 great ones. But sometimes it's because you get these matchups, and you see these opportunities in the game to make a difference as a captain by implanting the correct person in that spot. And I think that they have so many weapons on this team that if they continue to score like they did today, and yes, maybe not they didn't maximize what they could have, but yes, Oebis came in, did very, very good for them to get them a few extra runs at the end. And if they have that, I'm happy. We know at Church Street Park, and it's apparently here, it's you know, navigate those middle overs, get yourself to the end and score big.
That's what it is. And the freedom, they took advantage today. Texas, they were just 6 runs short, but you know, I think both teams will have the pluses and minuses for the game. But it was a doubleheader, so we got a second game to go ahead and talk about. And the second game featured the Knight Riders and MI New York. And New York, they got to bat first in this matchup. And yet again, we see top order struggles from New York, but it was with a different opening pair this time. No Stephen Taylor in the 11 today. It was instead Shan Jahangir. We said maybe Shan Jahangir comes in for Moning Patel.
We thought
instead they go in for Stephen Taylor.
Right. Yes, and that is an interesting development. The reason why we thought he would go in for Mo was because to us it was obvious that you'd want to preserve Stephen's bowling.
Yeah, Stephen's bowling and a left-handed bat as well.
And a left-handed bat. So you got the left-handed bat at the front, and you got the right arm off break bowling that you can use if you need to.
Yeah, and he's the
Phillips of that team. You know, as far as being able to use a batter as a very handy off-break bowler. I would put Stevens off-break bowling up against just about anybody in the USA. You know, Dane excluded maybe, or you know, there's a couple guys who are absolutely fantastic too. But I think Stevens' bowling is absolutely tremendous, and so taking him out of the team, I think, limited your options with bowlers. But at the same time, you know, obviously it didn't turn out they needed it. They only ran with 5 bowlers today,
and it worked out for them. But
again, let's talk back about the batting.
With the batting, this is a team that needs to find their identity up top of the order.
Yeah, we knew it would be a struggle.
It's been a struggle. Dewald Brevis, 15 off of 7.
Sure.
Shayan Jahangir goes 4 off 8. Morgan Patel, 4 off 7.
Yeah.
Hamad Azam comes in at number 4,
Yes.
getting a promotion,
Right.
8 off 17.
Yep.
And wickets falling, you lose 3 wickets in the first 5 overs. You're struggling with getting runs. Through 5 overs, you're 42 for 3. So the runs are coming a bit,
Right.
but you're not scoring at the rate you'd like, and you're losing a lot of wickets.
Right.
And you're putting a lot of pressure on the back end or that middle order. And we talked about how Nicholas Putin hasn't really played the type of innings we're ready for.
Right.
And again today, a 37 ball 38. That's not the Nicholas Putin we're accustomed to. But
Right. Yeah.
that's the Nicholas Putin New York has to have right now.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that their top order is not able to put any runs on the board.
And who do you go to if you're New York? You don't really have any options. You are going to have to get production from Shayan Jahangir or Manoj Patel or Stephen Taylor.
It's going to be one of those 3.
And now that you've taken Stephen out, do you put him back in and take somebody else out? What do you do?
Right.
And it's a tricky thing. Ideally for them, they would have wanted one of those 2 guys to hit, even Hamad Azam, to come through for them. They need help. They're
not bowling Hamad. The reason he's in this team is as a bat.
Yes. And so they need their domestics to come through for them with the bat. We know that they're very good.
Yeah.
We know that they can do this.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, Monarch, Stephen, not in the greatest form coming back from Zimbabwe. Kind of thrown into the format all of a sudden. They were only here for a few days before the thing started. But no excuses there. They've, today in the presser afterwards, we got to talk to Nosh Kanjige, who, he came into bat. That was exciting.
Yeah, it was fun.
But he got out pretty quickly. But either way, Nosh got to bowl today, and he took 2 wickets. He came in the power play, and he bowled the first over.
It was terrific, and it was terrific what he did. Set up by the huge 48 from Tim David, and he goes and gets the big wicket.
That big 48.
The big wicket to start for
the
New York franchise. They go and get Martin Guptill. And to go get Martin Guptill off the 3rd delivery was huge. You heard the roar from him, from Kyron Pollard. And again, this was all set up. Again, it's going to look so much better for New York than I think it was, because they got saved, to me, by Tim David. Tim David was the player of the match, and rightfully so. 48 off 21. Huge as of late. Kyron Pollard doesn't score. You look at their top 4, and then you add Kyron Pollard on top of that.
Right.
Those 5 together score a grand total of 36 runs. You have 5 guys scoring 36 runs, and those are supposed to be your 5 of your maybe 7 premier bats.
Right.
And so you needed Tim David. Nicholas Putin, again, we're going to talk about how he's just over 100 strike rate.
Sure.
That's the innings they needed.
Right.
But everything's going to be forgiven because of what they did with the ball, and it started with Nosh Kanjige in the 3rd delivery of that first over.
Tremendous stuff there. And of course, we saw some very interesting captain decisions there in terms of the fielding placement, coming in really tight against the, very tight to while kind of kick the dog when it's down, and kind of go ahead and try to be defensive here and try to work your way through the start here, and we're just gonna catch it.
The addition of Nosh came at the price of Sarabjit Ladda, and mentioned down here by Tashin. He said he thought Ladda deserved another chance. He thought his googly is so penetrative, and with the right-hand bats, it would have been really effective.
Sure.
And I would agree that Ladda probably deserves another chance, but I think if you look up a couple comments where Surya Raj says tomorrow we come with Rabada, Bolt, and Rashid, I think that's the reason you probably see Nosh in this team right now. They know once Rashid Khan comes in, we probably don't give Ladda as many chances. Let's see what Nosh has, and I think they were gonna pick one of the 2.
Yeah.
Who has the better day? Who is the most impactful performer?
Sure.
And Nosh not only delivered with the ball, terrific catch off Rabada's over.
We're used to that.
We're used to that.
Yeah.
We said he can affect the game in 3 phases. Did it in 2 tonight.
Yeah.
So I think that this is Nosh's way of saying he's in the team, and also for New York, every bowler had 2 wickets today.
Right.
Every bowler had 2 wickets. Rabada had 2 in his first over, and you had Bolt had 2 in the last over of the match.
And Asa Nadir looked great.
Asa Nadir looked great.
We talked about him last time. We were a little critical of him, but my goodness.
My goodness, he came back strong, and that's a sign of a really good player when they're able to come back in a facet, maybe didn't have their greatest day.
The question I've got to ask here, as you know, if I'm MI New York, I'm going to ask, was this just a stinker? Was this just a fluke? This was a really bad game for the Los Angeles Knight Riders. So how much can you take from this game? You know, how informative is this game to your plans in the future? Because, you know, sometimes when you get your butt kicked or when you kick someone's butt, it's kind of the downside to it is we didn't really have anything to learn from this game.
No, and I think there's a couple things you can learn here. Your top order needs to be fixed. Now, we mentioned Rashid Khan's going to come into this 11.
Right.
Who does he come in for? It's not going to be Kyron Pollard, he's the captain. Tim David's been your best player throughout the tournament. It's not going to be for Rabada or Bolt. Right? Those are your two mainstays. And then Nicholas Budon's your wicketkeeper. So that leaves DeWalt Brevis. Now, which is fine, but the problem is your top order is already struggling. And so now your top order is going to be, you're going to take up maybe the one guy who has the most rhythm. And you take him out, bring back in Steven Taylor. Which, well, again, we love Steven and we think Steven can find success.
Absolutely.
But you're banking a lot. You're going to have, it's now four domestics up top having to really fight when everybody's been struggling. And exactly. It puts them in a tough spot.
And likewise, with the Los Angeles Knight Riders here, we've seen Cornet Dry bowling well in this tournament. But Cornet Dry might not. There's a chance he's not in the team next game because they need batting.
They do need
batting. So I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I could be wrong. He did bowl only 2 overs today, but he took 2 wickets, and he was very economical. He was excellent today.
Then that's the thing for him is that he did bowl well. But Tashin did put a comment in there. He says, you know, he thinks that LA might have 2 anchors on this roster, Unmukt and Nitish, which, you know, doesn't allow you to accelerate. Does that open up a spot for a guy like Bhaskar Yadram to come in and hit? Or does he come in for a guy like Cornet Dry, who maybe doesn't have the bowling of Cornet Dry, but with the bat, you know what he can be as a power hitter?
So I was talking with the it's called Cricket Fellas. And they were saying that they think, of course, you know, these guys are from Seattle, but it made good sense. They said that maybe Cornet should come out and Shadley should go in, even though Cornet's doing so well, just for Shadley's batting. We know, and honestly, like, you can have talking about anchors in this team. Honestly, maybe they needed, you know,
I mean,
it's like they only scored 50 runs today. So like, somebody should have stuck around.
Someone had to stick around, and I think John stuck around for a bit. Unmukt did for a little bit.
Didn't look bad, and I think that he kind of had himself in a situation where he had to bat that way. But you're not going to win a T20 game chasing 163 this way.
No, and they got off to a bad start. They were 1 for 1 after 1. They were 2 for 1 after 2. They were 2 for 3 after 3. And then they were 8 for 3 after 4 before finally, you know, kind of exploding with some runs. And exploding meaning getting 13 runs in the over. So they really struggled today. The good news, though, if you're a Knight Riders fan, is that Jason Roy's is in the U.S. now. So he's going to be in the 11. And for me, this cleans out the role of Riley Rousseau. Or I think it's Rousseau or Gupta, because Jason Roy's going to come in and open.
Royce
and who's going to come in at that, you know, number 3 role? Is it going to be Martin Guptill sliding down, or is it going to be Riley Rousseau keeping a spot? Neither of whom have really showed anything. We've seen a shot from each, but nothing more.
And Nitish Kumar, does he stay in this team? That's to me, that's a really big question. We both know and like the guy. And he's excellent.
Former captain of Canada.
Yes, but I also Nitish Kumar. It's been a long time since he's had a big score in minor league. So so that's another thing to consider. We know he's a class player, but you know, there's going to have to be some shakeups here in this team, and we could see a very, very different team soon.
I think you could. You're 0-2 down, right? If you lose another game, you're out of this tournament. You're not losing 3 and making it to the playoffs.
On the bright side, Adam Zampa got 6 runs, closer to 420 runs. So.
Oh my goodness, we're back with the 420.
So you know, that's on the bright side.
He had himself a good day.
He did.
The man wearing 420, he got 2 wickets to his name, so he had a decent day. again, their bowling was fine today. I thought their bowling was really good. They got off to a hot start with Ali Khan, with Cornet dry. I thought they looked really good. Sunil Narayan was so economical today. And then
their bowling looked great. I was very pleased with their bowling.
It's good. Now the question is, what do you do with the batting? Right? Jaskaran didn't look in flow today, but he had a good first game. Unmunt had the incredible scoop 6. I think maybe the shot, obviously the shot of their innings, right? I don't think there's
well, it had to be.
Had to be. There's not many of them to speak of.
But yes, I mean, the question you have to ask yourself if you're MI New York is, did you just get gifted a game? Or were you really that good? And I think, because I was very happy with the way the Knight Riders bowled to them. I mean, I was impressed by the way they bowled.
The bowling was terrific.
Ali looked great. And then, Ali was in the press conference too, afterwards. Spoke highly of Morrisville, which is coming up. Awesome. We're getting ready to go to Morrisville in a couple of days, in a few days. Just
right there, right on the hat.
I mean, you can walk there.
I can walk.
You can walk to the ground. So a lot of good, exciting things coming up. But we're going to see if the Texas Super Kings, who probably played a little bit better today than the MI New York did, in my opinion, if they can bounce back from a loss, or if MI New York can take what they did today and piece together, you'd make a couple of changes and just have a good game.
Well, Nate, I'm going to ask you, Rashid Khan comes in, who comes out?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
As well as Ihsan Adil bowled today, are you comfortable taking Bolter Rabat out? Or are you comfortable taking Pura now and let Mona Patel keep? Or are you going to go to Wal Brevis?
Very good questions. I might go Brevis. I might go Brevis, but it's.
I would agree.
It's a tough call.
What I think they could do is slide Puran up. Maybe slide him into a 3 roll.
That's true. No, that's why.
Anjay Gear comes down at 4,
true.
maybe 5. I think there's options here where you can still help out the top order because something needs to change up top.
Something needs to change up top for certain. They need to change up top. They're lucky they got out with a win. I mean, I wasn't even feeling like I had to keep reminding myself that they won the game today. Because of the way that their top order performed. And it's just they need to make some kind of change. They need to do something. And unfortunately, in a tournament like this, sometimes you have to take a player out who's doing all right, who's doing pretty well, and to make something happen. And we know that if LA needs to take out Cornet to get more batting in there. He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything wrong. Cornet played great today.
And maybe I've spent 3 minutes talking about that particular thing. Might not even happen.
It could be maybe a Nitish Kumar who comes out.
Could be, but something's going to have to change.
There's going to be changes made. From a domestic front, we know. From an international perspective, we know because Jason Roy's going to come in. So there's going to be changes for that Knight Riders team because they need it. They need it quickly, and they're going to need it badly because this game not only hurts the win-loss column, hurts your net run rate in a huge way, and we've seen in T20 franchise tournaments, it always seems to come down to run rate for some placing, third, fourth, second, third. There's some kind of run rate involved. And if again, this game is going to plummet that net run rate.
It's going to kill. They got to win 3 games.
They got to win 3 games. And then they need some help. It feels like.
Ali said that too. He said we've got to win 3 games now, and so they have to find out who they are. And let's take one last look at the comments here. And thank you guys for watching us and communicating with us. The Knight Riders batting has me shocked too, Aaron. It's pretty bad. I think Roy could be a game changer if they can get that. If Roy can come in and give them 60, 70, 80 runs.
They haven't gotten to start yet this tournament.
It might be the secret sauce for them.
Absolutely. Again, they're going to need some kind of reshuffling, and Jason Roy probably is that secret sauce that they could be looking for.
One question though: Do you try the Sunil Narayan experiment at the top again, or is there too much spin going on for that?
I wouldn't mind seeing Sunil Narayan up top the order. I think the one thing, he doesn't look to be in complete flow either. I think he's still trying to find his batting game. And I think he's more comfortable batting down the order. But maybe while he's trying to find that power again, send him up top in the power play.
Yeah.
Bring a left-handed bat into the equation.
Right.
Especially if you're going to maybe move off of Riley Rousseau.
Right.
You can bring him up a little bit.
Sure.
I think there are options there.
Right, but I also think you're at a point in time now where you're down. You haven't won a game yet.
Yeah.
You got to make, if you can't find out who you are this year.
Yeah.
For this year,
Right.
find out who you are for next year, and putting Snell and Ryan at the top doesn't do anything for that.
No, it doesn't.
So I think that was a silly idea I had.
No, I don't necessarily think, because it could definitely work. He could definitely go out, hit a half century in the Knight Riders, go on to win the whole league. A lot can happen,
Right.
you know, coming up here. And we've seen 4 days of cricket, Nate.
Yeah.
We got 2 more here in Texas, and then we go back to North Carolina. We thank you so much for tuning in to this post-game show. We know it was a late one, so thank you guys for staying with us. For myself, for Nate Hayes, and for Bob Burbag, running all the production. Couldn't happen without him. We thank you for joining us for another Big Innings.